Morning. Yes, so last night was definitely eventful. We made it home. DOT. Last night was eventful. We made it home. And then Troy took a shower on his own, which was good. He just felt happy to be home. I felt happy to be home. I have all kinds of bags to unpack, but I literally just want to stay in bed all day. But I woke up this morning, didn't have any coffee, and he wants some eggs. So good morning, cuz. So I just ran to Cumberland Farms and I'll let him make some eggs for breakfast. I'll let him, whatever he can do on his own, I'm going to let him do on his own, I'll step in when he needs me to step in. Part of rehabilitation is you can't always do everything for them, because if you do everything for them all the time, how are they going to know what they can and cannot do? You know what I mean? So then when the doctors ask you questions, oh, can you do this? Can you do that? If I was doing it all for him, then he wouldn't be able to answer that question. Plus, this is a whole new life for him. He's got to learn how to, different breathing stuff. I know I'm exhausted. One day at a time, I know. One day at a time. So we made it home. We took out all of the machines because the suction machine has to be plugged in all the time. It only has 2 hours of usage without it being charged. But I did ask when they gave us the teaching if there was a car plug-in, which there is. We tried hooking up the compressor last night. The compressor that they gave us was broken, so I had to call the 800 number, and then I had to wait for the guy to show up. He came, I think, at about 10 o'clock. But as soon as Troy and I laid down in the bed, Troy passed out. He was so tired, which was really, really good. But I couldn't go back to sleep because I had to wait for the guy to come with a new compressor. The new compressor is how he gets his humidifier and his treatments, and he has to have those 3 to 4 times a day. He's supposed to have it at night. So the guy went into work, grabbed a new one, and brought it to us. So that's kind of where the hiccup was last night. And then we got the nebulizer. And the nebulizer and the saline treatments, those hook up to the big hose, humidification. I know, I can't even really talk. Anyways, so just, we're in a new environment. We're at home, and he's got to continue with his treatments. I got visiting nurse coming today. We picked up his meds yesterday. So pretty much after the hospital, we dropped off his sister, and then we went and got waffles at Newport Creamery because that's what he wanted. And that's what we always do after a doctor's appointment, is we go to Newport Creamery. It's nothing like it, you know what I mean? And so from there, we went to get his meds, and then we came home. And as soon as we came home, we unloaded the truck. And then he immediately had to suction some stuff, and then he wanted to just get in the shower, so he took a shower and then went to go put the machines together so we could go to bed. And that's when we found out the machine wasn't working. So anyways, it was nice. He got to sleep through the night. No one was waking him up every connecting. So we got up this morning. It's raining. I just want to stay in bed all day, but I went to go get coffee and I didn't have any in the house, so I drove to the store and got some coffee and some milk and some bread and some eggs so he can have some eggs because he can eat soft foods right now. And then once I wake up a little bit more, and after the visiting nurse comes, and I figure out his treatment schedule and everything, then maybe I'll get some more food. But right now he's just on soft foods. So, like, I'll learn more when I get settled. Yes, 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 yes. Yes, I will. Some of it reminds me, though, too, when my dad was coming home from the hospital and all the stuff I'm, like, taking out. And I got to get a cabinet. I got to get this cabinet that I got to put together so that I can organize all of his tubing and equipment and stuff like that. So he's going to have this stuff for the rest of his life. So it's a new routine that we're going to have to get used to. So let's, but like you said, one day at a time, and that's all we're doing. He's taking it like a true champ, like he really is. He really, really is. I couldn't imagine having cancer, number one, and number two, having to lose my vocal cords. So it's been challenging as far as communicating goes, but we found a text-to-speech app on his phone, and they did install a prosthetic into his throat, and once this heals, they'll do speech therapy, and he'll learn how to talk through the prosthetic. But the prosthetic, it's only good for 3 months, and they have to replace it every 3 months. But right now, we're just, like you said, we're home, we're trying to adjust. Will he ever be able to talk through his neck? Well, when we talk, we use our lungs to talk. However, there are ways that you can talk without using the air that's being pushed up. And a lot of times, eventually they said, like, he'll be able to cover the hole and push the air to come out through his mouth as if he's speaking. The prosthetic is something that replaces your vocal cords, and so it will vibrate to make a pitch or a sound. And so sometimes I'll hear it a little bit, and I'll be like, "Oh, babe, did you hear that?" It's not gonna be his normal voice, but even the last year or so, he hasn't really had a normal voice. But right now, it's just, I think what's most annoying for him is the hole in his throat and having it constantly comes out. The stoma, like the tubing, constantly comes out, and so we have to strap it. And whenever you put it in, it hits his coughing reflex. And think about it. If you have a cold and you need to cough, right? Like that. It comes out normal, right? Every time he goes to put this tube in, he coughs and coughs and coughs. And I'm always like, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" But he's getting used to his body. And they said the phlegm and the mucus, that will go down over time. It's just because his body has to learn a new way. Like, his brain has to learn how to make the lungs function separately from it being together again. But all that will come in due time. And like you said, just day by day. So yeah, we have great moments. But then there are times when we have really scary moments. I saw him choke twice in the hospital. That was really scary. Really, really scary. He can't get any water in that hole because it goes directly to his lungs. So taking a shower is a challenge. Plus, he's still healing. He just got the staples out yesterday, so he can't really have much wrapped around his neck. But I was really glad that he was able to sleep last night. We have a Craftmatic, so the bed lifts up in the front and down by our feet. So he was able to do that. He can't blow his nose, so when his nose runs, it just gets annoying if he tries to like go to plug something in. Like last night when he was trying to plug in the equipment, the nose was all running, but he can't blow his nose. Me, I'm like, do you want me to suction it? Like stupid shit like that. I just want him to feel more comfortable, but you know, it is what it is. How's his eating? Well, they took the feeding tube out yesterday, and we're gonna try some eggs. He had the awful, he only had like a couple of sips. Mind you, when you sip from a straw, you suck. You use the air to suck it in. So when he tried to eat soup or broth, he couldn't suck the broth off the spoon. So all of these things are, he's gonna have to do trial and error to learn from it. But today we're gonna try some eggs. He hasn't done too much eating, but now that he's home in his own environment and hopefully getting a good night's sleep without nurses waking him up every hour for vitals, his body will start to heal a little bit more. So like I said, every day is different, and we're just taking it day to day. That's basically it. So this morning he'll try some eggs and do a treatment. Hospitals are wicked exhausting. I mean, literally, I was like, he was in the recliner, and I would just go over. Towards the end, I was getting so tired, and I would just lay in the hospital bed, and they would come in to do vitals, and I'd be like, I'm not the patient, although I looked like I was, but I wasn't. Just because I was so tired. And then I started thinking to myself, man, like, anytime I've gone away, I've not been this exhausted. I don't know if it's the air that's in the hospital, but it's just so tiring. It's like, oh my God. And then you're like in this tiny little room, and you're just like, ugh. You know? Yeah, hospitals are wicked exhausting. You know. Yeah, it's mental exhaustion. But it was also like hotel, hospital, food, back to the hotel. I didn't really do much. I think I went to TGI Fridays one night because my sister-in-law like pretty much begged me. I didn't really care to eat. But we'll see what today's adventure brings us, basically. But I'll take a shower later on. I am not here to impress nobody. Nobody. Thank you. I'm happy to be home too. But we go back for post-op and a radiation consultation tomorrow. So even if we're home just for 24 hours, it's still better than nothing. And once you get home and you start setting things up and starting to live in your own environment, that's when you start having more questions. And it's funny because the guy came in to teach us the equipment, and I videotaped him because I was like, once we get home, we might not know how to do this. So I videotaped it. Sure enough, I had to play the video a couple of times. But I'm also the kind of person that I learn hands-on. So I like you to show me, and then I like to try and do it myself, and that's when I start having the hiccups. But when they train you, they just show you the machine, tell you what you have to, tell me what you have to do. I can't really try it yourself. I don't know. Anyways, that was our fun-filled adventure last evening. But everything's good. It's a rainy day, and we're gonna try to eat some eggs, and we're gonna wait for the nurse and see what else we have to do to set up for him. And I'll keep you posted. But thank you all so much for your prayers, your support, your love. It really means a lot. All right, we love you. Have a good day.